Fine. Would you not agree with me when I say that we had a wonderful marriage until you decided to rip our family apart? That you blindsided me by leaving with the kids? No, I would not. I warned you multiple times in the last 2 years of our marriage that if things continued as they were, I would be leaving. You had ample warnings. I mean, yeah, but you always said that and never left. It was never serious. That shows we did not have a good marriage. I told you how unhappy I was for years, and you didn't think it was serious enough to actually care. This isn't relevant to our children, though. It is. Wouldn't you agree that our children would be better off if they lived with both parents in one household, instead of being passed back and forth? No. They should not have to grow up watching a toxic marriage. And if I am so awful and Abu Dollar Ive, why do you want to stay married to me? Because at least when we were together you only Abu Dollar Ed me and not the children. I'm willing to make that sacrifice. Do you have any valid questions, or can we move on? I do, of course. Why will you not allow our children to have a normal, fun childhood? They should be playing with friends, and in sports and camps, and you won't allow them. In case you missed it, the entire world is on lockdown right now. That's why we have court over Zoom. There are no camps or sports teams currently. It is for their health and safety. Well, you didn't let them last season either, and that was before the shutdown. We missed registration from coming back to the States. And then we separated. Sports teams were not the top of the list at the time. This is exactly what I'm talking about, Your Honor. She cares more about herself and her own happiness than our children. I would never put myself before them. This is entirely unproductive. We will be moving on from your cross-examination. Bailey, you may begin, but I have more questions, and I should be able to ask them if I choose to. You chose to waste your time asking questions that have nothing to do with the safety and well-being of the children. Cross-examination is not an excuse to harass the opposing party. We are now moving on. Fine. But I expect you will cut her off to once she gets off topic. Otherwise, it proves you are biased. Thank you, Your Honor. I am here seeking the best interest of my children. My marriage was extremely Abu Dollar Ive and toxic. And while I know the courts will not acknowledge that in deciding custody, because it did not happen to the children, it sets a precedent. Currently, I have full legal custody of my children, and their father has every other weekend visitation and our visit, each Wednesday. I am asking the courts to order a gao for my children to decide if this schedule is what is best for them. I am also asking that the courts remove Wednesday visitation due to the children being late consistently coming home. This affects their schedule and makes it difficult for my oldest son who is in elementary school. I am also asking that the courts order Nick to take racial sensitivity classes as well as anger management and parenting classes in order for us to better cooperate and communicate. Lastly, I would like to set a time limit on the daily phone call between Nick and the children and add a morality clause too. Our order prohibiting either party from introducing a significant other to the children before months. Please explain the phone call limit. I would like to know the background to this. Nick will call the kids sporadically. Some weeks he calls every day, and others not at all. But when he does call, he attempts to force the children stay on the phone with him for hours at a time, even when they do not have anything to say. He says he wants to just see them. I believe that Nick only does this to control what is happening in my household. I am more than willing to allow him to have a daily phone call if he will use it. But there needs to be a time limit so that it does not control our home. Is there a reason that you stay on the phone for hours just to look at the children? My babies are my life. I want to see them all the time. And when I see them, I can be sure they are safe and not being harmed. I am their protector. I used to love the nights when my children had nightmares when we all lived together. They would come running from their rooms, and I would be able to scoop them up and comfort them. They knew I would keep them safe from any monster. Now I have to keep them safe from their monster of a mother. This is exactly why I believe he needs parenting classes. He says these types of things to our children, and I believe he is attempting to alienate them from me through his lies. Bailey, I know you better than anyone. I know who you really are. If I may interrupt, Your Honor, I find it incredibly offensive that she is suggesting I need racial sensitivity training. As the father of 3 beautiful biracial babies, I honestly believe she needs it more than I do. You believe that your biracial ex is in need of racial sensitivity training. Why is that? She does not respect that my children are mostly white. She ignores my preferences and culture in favor of hers consistently. It's completely unacceptable to pretend like my babies are not mostly white. Why can they not be taught to be proud of that? I will be moving on from this part of the conversation now. I will also be adding the morality clause to your current court order. So is she going to have to take the class or not? If she takes it, I will too. I cannot order someone to take a racial sensitivity training session, though I highly suggest that you do find a course to attend. What even is a morality clause? I have wonderful morals. If anything, she is in need of better
Neither
morals.
party is to introduce a partner to the children before dating for at least 6 months.
And no overnight guests until the parent and partner is married. I don't agree to that. She cannot control who I have in my home and around my children. That's none of her business. Your Honor, I am requesting this due to the incident with Nick's ex-girlfriend at the pickup 2 weeks ago. He labeled her as the children's stepmother and had her come to pick the kids up before she had even met them. Yes, I see that in the copy of the text messages you have submitted. This is why I am inclined to include it. That is not healthy for the children. This is why I wanted another judge. I knew this would happen. I knew you would take one look at me and one look at her and decide right away who you believe. You know reverse racism is real. And you should be fired for your blatant hatred towards white people. That's enough. I have heard enough from you. I will be granting the request of a gal to represent the children, and we will reconvene when the gal is prepared to give their decision on custody. I will also be revoking Wednesday visits. Court is dismissed. You can't take away my Wednesday visits for no reason. If you do not respect the importance of the children's schedule, you do not need to have the time. Court is dismissed. I want to see my kids. I have reservations for us to go to dinner tonight at the steakhouse downtown that I have had since last Wednesday. You need to let me have them. Nick, you are aware that you no longer have Wednesday visits. The kids know that they are not seeing you tonight. I suggest calling the restaurant and rescheduling your dinner. No. It's ridiculous that you think I have to have permission to see my own children. I am a damn man and a father. I have the right to see my kids whenever. This is ridiculous. The court order is put in place for a reason. If you would like to contest it, I suggest hiring an attorney and going back to court. Have a good night. Oh, don't you worry, I will. I will take this to the Supreme Court if I have to. What family court is doing to fathers like me is unacceptable and pure evil. I will fight this until the day that I die. I will contact the media. I will post this all over Facebook and all of my social media platforms. I will tell every person that I meet. But I will not let the courts or you get away with this. This is Abu Dollar to a father, pure and simple. I will not let this go. Okay, sounds good. My family personally knows the governor of our state, just so you are aware. I'm sure he will not stand for this once I call him and tell him how corrupt his family courts are. He will help me get custody of my babies again. I will have that corrupt judge disbarred and unemployed within the week. And for all of your lies, I will make sure you are jailed. Please remember in between these plans that your half of the payment for the gal is due within 2 weeks. You don't want to start off on a bad foot by refusing to pay her as well as your child support. You're crazy if you think I'm paying some corrupt court-appointed gal to come and interrogate my babies and my family. That isn't happening. I won't pay, and then the gal won't come out. You can pay the whole thing since you want to play these games. The gal will still come whether or not you pay your half. Refusal to pay will just mean you will also end up in court with the gal. That is completely up to you. Clearly, you're even dumber than you look. Nobody will do their job if they don't get paid. You keep thinking you're winning. Just remember I'm always 5 steps ahead of you. I'm just playing the long game.